Steve Johnson stationed himself outside his wife's office at 7:00 p.m. intending to terminate the charade they dubbed marriage. Some husbands overlook the signs over time, especially when their wives have never worked late before. Steve took notice and decided to address the issue. He approximated that this had been transpiring for 2 months, pinpointing the moment he observed his wife Angela wearing red high-heeled shoes to work. Angela despised heels, reserving them for rare weddings or special occasions, particularly in the bedroom where she paired them with red heels, white stockings, a cute lace bra and thong underwear. Steve cherished the white thigh-high stockings and believed they had a fantastic love life. However, Angela never wore high heels to work, which prompted Steve to inquire about the change. He asked if something was going on, and she explained that she had a meeting with her boss and wanted to look professional. Angela paused briefly and continued walking without turning around. Steve remained silent, contemplating her choice and wondering if it resembled that of a professional, yet remained discreet. The revelation unfolded over time. Initially it was an occasional hour, but later it escalated to 2 or 3 hours several days a week. Steve realized the truth when Angela attended a bachelorette party, detesting clubs, salons and bars, preferring dinner or coffee. She disapproved of drinking and looked down on those who indulged, following her to a third bachelorette party at her boss Martin Schindler's house in Glen Ellen. Steve recognized the location from past gatherings, waiting an hour to confirm her intentions. He then deflated all 4 tires and returned home. Angela omitted the tire incident, but recounted it to their daughter Jenny, expressing relief that someone merely released the air. JNY questioned its veracity, and Angela affirmed grateful they weren't cut using an air pump. Steve insisted she keep in the trunk. Angela admitted to a night at a dance club with friends and suggested avoiding it in the future. Steve consulted a lawyer, initiating the divorce process, leading him to sit in his car near her office, awaiting her impending service. Despite lamenting 21 years of marriage, they produced their 17-year-old daughter Jenny. Steve's pride and joy. They initially met when Angela, a receptionist aspiring to become a pargal, assisted Steve with a contract dispute. Dating blissfully for 2 years, they married, and Steve believed in the happiness of their marriage until Angela started working for Martin Schindler. Despite Steve's truck driving job with long hours, they maximized family time, embarking on weekend trips according to Jenny's schedule filled with sports or other engaging activities. They explored Galena, Illinois for wineries, in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin for shopping and relaxation. Angela's betrayal unnoticed until the revelation of her choice and footwear severed their connection. As Angela distanced herself, Steve, previously unaware of her infidelity, observed a decline in her demeanor. He recalled the night he trailed her and initiated a conversation. Why not have dinner and catch a movie today? I have a rare day off on Friday, and I'd like to spend time with you, he proposed. She replied, you know the deal, Fridays are for my girls. They depend on me as their designated driver. Let them manage for one night with your extended work hours, and those nights with the girls I barely see you. If you had a genuine job that didn't require driving at all hours, we could spend more time together, but you don't. I've endured it for 2 decades. Deal with it. See you later. Without saying goodbye, she left, leaving him speechless. Follow her into the garage. He witnessed her departure, grabbed the keys, and hastily followed. Their area had a single exit involving a maze of streets. To reach the exit of their house, catching up with her on Main Street, he trailed her to Martin's house. He avoided her for the rest of the weekend, deciding to consult a lawyer on Monday. He wasn't seeking a scorched earth approach, he simply wanted a peaceful end to their marriage. Feeling through her words and actions that she no longer desired him, he questioned, holding on to the slippery rope. He believed she could have her boss without a fight on his part. He shared this sentiment with his daughter that Monday, disclosing that she was involved with her boss and expressing his belief that she was cheating on him. His daughter, referring to him as Pumpkin, acknowledged the information, stating that she may not have noticed a difference in the last couple of months, but he did. No way, Daddy, I don't believe it. I followed her to his house. She claimed she was going out with friends, but that's not true. She went straight to her boss's house, but her tires were damaged at the club. No honey, I did it right outside her boyfriend's house when I realized she wasn't heading to the club. It's hard to believe, Dad. Me too, but it's true. His daughter sat beside him in the car, anticipating the inevitable fireworks. Are you sure, Dad? No chance, Jenny asked. No, Pumpkin, it's over. She broke my trust and tore my heart. I can't tolerate such betrayal. Even if she had a reason, there's no justification for a prolonged affair. What if she got drunk and it happened just once? Maybe if she'd been assaulted it would be different. No, she chose this path. She betrayed my trust. Trust is crucial with someone you can never love. Someone you can't trust. One could never love someone who betrayed me like that. Our marriage fell apart. Jenny glimpsed 2 men approaching the car from the window. What a fool, Angela Johnson remarked, looking out of their law office window. Engaged with Martin. She was relieved. The office had gold-tinted windows. I can't believe it. He thought he'd smack me to it. There was no love there. It was animalistic in every way. It took him 6 months to attract Angela, grooming her to replace his Wife who just finalized their 19-year marriage's divorce. He was fed up with his ex-wife's complaints, weight gain, and lack of desire. Embarrassed to be seen with her, he finally broke free when his twins left for college. Angela, the same age as his wife, exuded greater elegance, possessing the toned physique of a 30-year-old. She radiated astonishing beauty. Martin had already upgraded her wardrobe, envisioning her as an exemplary boss's wife. A knock on the window startled Steve. "Are you Stephen Johnson?" Rolling down the window, he confirmed, "Yes, you've been served. Please read the documents carefully. There is a restraining order requiring you to stay 100 m away from Angela Johnson, Jennifer Johnson, and your family residence." "What injunction from Jenny?" Jenny grabbed the envelope. Reading the divorce headline, she discovered a restraining order and handed it to him. "What the hell?" he shouted. "Oh God, no!" Jenny moaned. "Daddy, I swear I didn't know." "What are you talking about?" She handed him the remaining papers. The documentation outlined several allegations: spousal violence, child misuse, aggravation of a minor. "Jenny, why Dad? I swear I had nothing to do with this. This is a lie or a mistake." "Wait, how did she know I'd be here right now?" "That's because I told her." His daughter's admission shattered his heart. "When you told me she was cheating on you, I confronted her. She told me she only did it because she had an investigator's report stating you cheated on her." "You can't be serious. Have you seen the report?" "No, you believed her, and not me." "Did you let her set me up, baby? Why, I love you so much. Why did you do this to me?" "I asked you not to say anything." "I swear, Dad, I didn't know about the restraining order. This misuse is nonsense. I swear I didn't say anything like that to anyone." He cried quietly, not paying attention to her. "Please." A moment later, he said, "You have to leave now." "Jenny, I can't, and don't want to be within 100 yards of you anymore," he said quietly. "Dad, no," she screamed. "Go, or I might get arrested. On top of all this, the sheriff is still here watching me." Reading further, he said, "Oh my God, they also froze all my accounts. Crap, what should I do now? Congratulations to you both. You destroyed me. I can't even afford to fight her damn powerful law firm with all these bogus claims. I will forever fight in court. Oh God, no, I'll fix everything, Daddy," she said, getting out of the car and heading toward the office building. Martin and Angela concluded their activities and sighed contentedly. "It was great, darling," she said. "I just wish I had binoculars so I could see his face." As Martin fastened his belt and Angela smoothed out her dress, Jenny stormed into the office screaming, "You're a witch! Child misuse, aggravation. What is wrong with you?" Jenny screamed, "I should have had the advantage." Angela said, "I should have struck first. Now he cannot enter the house or access our money for some time. Now I have the upper hand over him. He didn't insult me. I don't know this for sure. You guys are really close," Angela said with a grin. Jenny approached her and asked, "He didn't cheat, did he?" "Of course not. Who needs it?" she said with a laugh. "You're a monster," Jenny said, and punched her mother in the face with all her might. Angela collapsed to the ground in shock and pain. Martin laughed and said, "Nice shot, girl." Jenny froze, then looked around. She saw bookcases, shelves, and a dirty desk. She grimaced in disgust, looked at Martin, and swept everything off the table. Then Jenny looked at him and calmly said, "You'd better never cross paths with me again, idiot. I can and will hurt you." And she left. Jenny, "Wait, damn it," Angela screamed. "Martin said that little brat will pay for this." On her way out, she passed a man with an envelope in his hand who asked her, "Are you Angela Johnson there?" she said, and rushed away. Both Angela and Martin laughed at the fact that she was served with Steve's divorce petition. Jenny desperately tried to talk to her father out of fear. He knew he couldn't talk to her, so he didn't answer, and cried every time he saw her call. He was afraid that Angela would find out and send the police after him for violating the restraining order. Angela had already alienated him from all their friends, and only his parents and brother believed in his innocence. His sister-in-law kept him away from his niece and nephew just in case it was true. This almost shattered her brother's marriage with George before Jenny compelled her to reveal the truth. He couldn't fathom what he'd done to merit such animosity from Angela and the betrayal of his daughter. Even without knowledge of the misuse charge, she informed her mother that he was aware of her affair and the impending service. She falsely claimed she intended to stand by him during Angela's service, but stayed silent knowing he would be served. Jenny sought assistance for her dad. Discovering her mother's divorce papers showed the lawyer worked in her mother's office, making it impossible to approach him. She reached out to Grandpa George hoping for help. "What do you need, young lady?" inquired her grandfather. "We have to help, Dad. I don't know who to turn to. I can't believe what you did to your father." "Jenny, what were you thinking helping your mother?" "Grandfather, it's all a lie. I didn't do anything. It's all my mom and her lawyer guy." "Watch your tongue, girl." "I'm sorry, Grandpa. I swear I didn't blame him for any of this. I had no idea confronting her would lead to that explosion." "Fine. I'll see what I can do." "Grandfather, is he there? Can I talk to him?" "He can't have any contact until this order is lifted. Every call makes him cry, fearing your mother will find out and involve the police." His lawyer set a court date for the hearing, but nothing can be done until then. Jenny in tears said, "Grandpa, tell him I love him and miss him. I'll convey the Message if I see him. Jenny hung up and cried for minutes. When she composed herself, she entered her mother's room talking ing her underwear and new clothes down the stairs, carrying a heap of clothes outside. She threw them in the front yard. Some outfits still had tags "Screw you mom," she said, and fetched lighter fluid from the barn, pouring it on her clothes. She lit them with matches, realizing her mother would return soon. Jenny sat in a lawn chair roasting marshmallows over the burning clothes. Angela, pulling into the driveway, saw Jenny and screamed, demanding an explanation. "No mom, I've lost my mind. I decided to make you pay for the days Dad can't talk to me. Destroying more of your things will follow unless you retract this misuse claim. If you touch me, I'll report your misuse, and also let everyone know your boyfriend asked me to show my underwear." "Don't worry mom, things will turn into smoke until I talk to him." "Damn it," Angela exclaimed as she entered the house. She dialed Steve, but as expected, he ignored the call and deleted the message unheard. Shortly afterward, a FIR TRCK and police car arrived in response to a neighbor's fire report. A policeman and a firefighter approached Jenny. "What's happening here, young lady?" inquired the officer. "My mom wanted to discard clothes she outgrown and told me to burn them at the stake," Jenny explained. "Apparently you can't have a fire in the front yard. Is your mother home?" he asked. "Yes, sir. I'll use a hose to put it out if you want," a fireman offered. "Did you use anything to light it, or did you just set the clothes on fire?" "A whole can of lighter fluid," she proudly admitted. "We don't have water, but we've got some sand. I'll fetch it," the fireman said while he dealt with the fire. The policeman rang the doorbell. Angela, prepared to confront her daughter, realized it was the police. "Will handle the fire. It's not a big deal, officer," Angela said before he could speak. "Ma'am, did you know it's against city ordinance to have an uncontrolled fire in your yard?" "No, I didn't," she retorted through clenched teeth. "Here's your fine. Just pay it. No court appearance is required next time." "Ma'am considered donating unwanted clothes to Goodwill. Less fortunate people could use them." She closed the door. Angela's lawyer attended a restraining order hearing the following Monday, choosing not to renew it, aware it was falsely obtained. It served its purpose, buying time and tarnishing Steve's reputation. Steve's lawyer sought charges against Angela for perjury. The judge, lacking conclusive evidence of false pretenses, dismissed the perjury claim, though the restraining order was lifted. It offered little comfort to Steve, deeply depressed by false accusations, frozen assets, spousal betrayal, and most painfully his daughter's betrayal. Struggling to make ends meet, he took leave from work, battled drinks, and lived in misery. In the afternoon, when Angela and Jenny were absent, Steve visited his house. Despite changed locks, the garage door opened. He found his belongings in boxes and garbage bags. Noticing Angela had left the wedding album and family photographs, he maintained contact with his family, though strained due to his problems. Despite his parents urging him to see a psychiatrist, he refused, feeling he didn't need one to confirm his miserable life. Angela's law firm waged a merciless campaign, informing his employer about the restraining order and misuse allegations, resulting in Steve's termination. His contract's moral clause meant to address such situations might have been contested if he were in a better state of mind, but at that moment he felt powerless to act. Steve's residence remained a mystery, with communication limited to telephone exchanges with his family. The sole glimpse of him occurred during mandatory appearances for his divorce, where he interacted solely with his lawyer and the judge. Jenny attempted to engage him during such instances, and each time he passed by without acknowledgement, resembling the walking dead. In her eyes, Angela reveled in the unfolding events, harboring resentment toward Steve long before Martin influenced her. Throughout her manipulative endeavors, her sentiments evolved into near hatred. After prolonged legal battles, the divorce con included, Steve reclaimed his share of assets, successfully sold the house with his lawyer's assistance, and retained ownership of his truck. However, false rumors circulating about child misuse hindered his job search in town. Despite lacking any accusations, opting for a fresh start, Steve moved to Chicago, securing employment as a truck driver. Loading his belongings into the pickup, he bid farewell to his parents. When Jenny arrived, "Dad, I'm so sorry, none of this should have happened," she expressed, running up to hug him. He cried without reciprocating. "You chose your mother without evidence, and the dominoes fell. I had to file first to catch her off guard. Now you understand why, Daddy. I didn't know. I'm sorry. I'm leaving now. This false accusation of child aggravation just won't go away. Once you're accused of something like that, it's a stink you just can't wash off. Someday your mother and her lover will pay for this. Goodbye, Jennifer. I loved you more than my own life." As her grandmother hugged Jenny, he seized the opportunity to get into the truck and drive away. "Angela, will you marry me?" Martin proposed on the day the divorce finalized. "Yes, Martin." "Oh yeah," she cried, and hugged him, causing a scene in the restaurant. "Leighton, go to your house and celebrate," she suggested after settling the bill. Eager to move in and remodel Martin's big house, Angela planned to discard the tacky furniture and curtains chosen by his ex-wife. Their first purchase would be a new bedroom set. As they left, Martin laughed at the sight of his ex-wife Carol having dinner with her parents. Carol disgusted with him, and his latest mistress spat at him as they passed by, but he paid no attention. Steve entered the truck warehouse and spotted his colleague Lou at the doorway. "Steve, what's up, dude? You look like someone spoiled your oatmeal. Divorce is finalized today." "Oh well, after what that woman did to you, you deserve to have some fun today." "It's not her, it's my daughter. She took her side, and I just can't handle it. She calls and emails me, but I can't bring myself to talk to her. Maybe I should see psychiatrist. Perhaps you should let off some steam." A voice chimed in from behind them. "Hello, Mariana. That's not a bad idea," Lou added. "Ha, who needs my dried-out old self?" Steve remarked. Marian leaned over, whispering words of affection to him, and then gracefully walked away, leaving the onlookers admiring her as she departed. Encouraged by his friends, Steve expressed his readiness to pursue Marianne, stating that she was his new partner, and they should hit the road. Their initial date included dinner, a movie, and a visit to Baker Square for coffee and cake. Marin reassured Steve, mentioning that he was a good guy going through a rough patch and that everything would work out. Reflecting on his past, Steve shared with Marianne that for a long time he couldn't fathom what he did wrong and couldn't understand his ex-wife's aggression during the divorce. He expressed that she was terrible, but it was all over now. Holding her hand, he advised her to look forward, not behind, and promised to make it worth her while. With a smile, he squeezed her hand and suggested they go, while Marian pulled him in for a kiss. Upon their exit, she then proposed if he wanted to see her bedroom. Steve regretfully replied that he wished he could. However, Marian, undeterred, took his hand, leading him to her bedroom. Bathed in the soothing bluish tint of moonlight, they kissed and undressed slowly, intending to save her every moment. Marianne eventually lay on the bed, and Steve knelt on the floor, expressing his perspective. He remarked that her loss was his gain, and he intended to take advantage of it. He kissed her, mentioning that he was available any time. A week or so later, a man dressed in black approached the back door of a posh house in town, expecting to break in. He smiled when he found it unlocked. Stealthily navigating through the house, he reached the room he sought. The room was well equipped thanks to a Facebook photo of his target sitting at his desk. The arrogant man had it as his screensaver. The closet was behind and to the right of the desk, with the room dimly lit by a desk lamp. Though the closet door was closed, he could still see the room well. Opening the door behind the counter, he waited. The only concern was the target approaching the closet before sitting down. It might complicate things, but he remained confident the job would be done with a perfect alibi, ensuring his safety. Martin Schindler entered his home office, glancing at the computer monitor angled on his desk with his back turned to the cabinet. The uninvited guest cautiously opened the closet door and stealthily slipped away. Upon hearing the noise, Martin looked up and discovered a weapon pressed to his head, followed by the pulling of the trigger. Subsequently, the pistol was placed in his hand, and a note was left on the table that simply stated price paid in full. The shooter swiftly exited the door after leaving the note. Upon returning home from the store, Angela entered Martin's office to share the news she had purchased. She screamed at the sight of his lifeless body in the chair and immediately retrieved her cell phone to call emergency. While observing the weapon in his hand with a note on the table, she refrained from touching it. Reading the message, she received a shocking revelation. "No, Steve, no." In distress, she screamed, questioning, "What have you done?" Detective Devontae Jordan received a call and hurried to the Schindlers' home. On arrival, he saw a weeping woman in the living room with crime scene investigators moving around the office. While scanning the scene, he noticed a new set of golf clubs in the corner and commented, "Good clubs indeed." Continuing his examination, he observed the weapon still held in the sufferer's right hand. Asking one of the first responding officers, he inquired about the current situation, learning that it was an apparent self-inflicted weapon shot to the head. The sufferer was lawyer Martin Schindler, a homeowner with Angela Johnson as the bride, who found the body and called emergency. There was a typed note on a computer and signed, consisting of just one sentence. Detective Jordan handed a plastic bag with the note, frowned, and questioned Angela about its meaning. Angela clarified it wasn't self-destruction. Her ex-husband Steve eliminated him. Martin disliked weapons and didn't own such a firearm. Angela believed Steve did it because he felt Martin took her away. She admitted to dating the deceased while married. Detective Jordan considered potential motives, including resentment from Martin's ex-wife, who might have been angry about being left. Angela provided an alibi for her whereabouts, assuring the detective. On a sunny Sunday afternoon, Detective Jordan visited Steve Johnson, asking about his whereabouts the previous night. Steve explained he was driving a rig through Rockford, arriving at the station at 9:30 p.m. Detective Jordan informed him of Martin's apparent self-destruction. Hinting at inconsistencies, Steve offered additional information, providing his new mobile number for future contact. As Detective Jordan left, he contemplated the oddities surrounding the self-destruction, such as a left-handed person shooting himself with his right hand typing the note, and the scarcity of weapons marks on his hand. These anomalies troubled him as he prepared for further investigations across Chicago. After the detective departed, Steve took a seat at his kitchen table. When Lou asked him what all of it meant, Steve chuckled, remarking that he couldn't believe his ex fiancé had committed self-destruction. Lou expressed his hope that his alibi checked out. They laughed and clinked beer bottles in a toast. Angela, seated in the front row at the funeral, mourned the man who effortlessly took her from her wonderful husband. Tears flowed for the man who persuaded her to participate in a nuclear attack and execute a good man for change. She was deeply in love with her truck driver husband. Until she transferred to work for Martin, he targeted her immediately, wearing her down with snide comments about truck drivers and flippant remarks about him during trips. It was too easy for Martin. He planted a seed she had neglected due to Steve's long days and sometimes nights on the road, and it grew. Angela couldn't decide if she cried for her fiancé's loss or her husband's, and the breakdown with her daughter. It all seemed like a waste of time. She didn't hear or care if the room buzzed around her. She didn't notice the looks Martin's ex-wife and daughters gave her. They blamed her for his passway. You could come to the funeral and pay your respects, Angela said, approaching her daughter home for the weekend from college. Jenny looked at her intently and said, "How dare you tell me I should respect the man who destroyed my father? Forget you, I shouldn't even call that piece of garbage a man." She slammed the door as she left the house, taking the long drive back to college in La Crosse, Wisconsin. Detective Jordan sat in a meeting with his boss, discussing the lack of progress in the case. All the suspects' alibis are verified. Steve Johnson's truck tracker shows no stops on his way from Madison to Chicago, and the timing was correct. The warehouse team identified him as the driver. Angela Johnson's receipts and surveillance place her at Macy's, Victoria's Secret, and Starbucks. As the medical examiner window showed, at the time of her pass away, Schindler's ex-wife and daughters had dinner with her parents' brother and sister-in-law in honor of her birthday, said Jordan. "Was it your ex's birthday?" the commander asked him. "No, they were just celebrating it. Heck, I even checked on Johnson's daughter, and she was at college over 3 hours away in Wisconsin." "Is there a chance it was self-destruction?" the commander asked him. "It's possible. It just seems to me that it's not true." "Well, with no suspects, no motive, and no concrete evidence that it was even a slaughter, let's close it as a self-destruction." Jordan nodded and left the room, upset. 6 months later, Angela invited Jason Davis to dinner. It was their third date, and Angela got him into bed after a passionate night. Jason went home. He opened a bottle of beer before going to bed and sat down to check his email. As he sat at the kitchen table, a weapon was pointed at his head and fired. They put a weapon in his hand and left a note. "The price has been paid in full." Detective Jordan walked through the apartment and into the kitchen. Before he could speak, he was handed a self-destruction note. "Well, damn, it looks like I was right about something else. Now, I just need to find out who the hell did this," he told the officer. "Any fingerprints, Mark?" he inquired of the technician. "Yes, but if I had to guess right now, I would say they are the sufferers." "Are there any witnesses who called the police?" Jordan asked. "A neighbor heard the shot and called emergency. No one saw anyone enter or leave." "Of course not. How did they get here?" "No broken locks or windows. It looks like a balcony to me." The sliding door was not locked. The sufferer probably wasn't worried about this since he was on the second floor, although it wouldn't be that difficult to climb up. "I would say that anyone a fairly average height could jump, reach the bottom and pull themselves up." "Average height for a man or a woman?" "Average man, tall woman." "Where is this guy's phone number?" Jordan asked. "Packed here." Jordan used his gloved hands to find the last call on his phone. "Just had to check. The last call was made to Angela. I'll be shocked if she's not Angela Johnson." After the usual condolences and pleasantries, the detective got to work. He inquired of Miss Johnson why her love seemed inclined towards self-destruction. Miss Johnson responded that she believed it was Steve who was punishing her, and confirmed she had been at home all night with her alarm system serving as verification. She explained that the alarm system detected doors and windows opening, and that she had activated it when Jason left the previous night, deactivating it only upon the detective's arrival that morning. She affirmed that the system had remained on throughout the night. When asked about her theory implicating her husband in the parents' self-destructions, she